Hello, dear friend. Time is 11:18. Today is 10th of the June 2011. My name is Abbas Tamori. I spoke last night about spiritual understanding, as is going to be my system about the attributes. I will also talk about the lack of that particular attributes. So tonight I will be talking about lack of spiritual understanding. What are the causes that makes us not to understand the higher purposes, those secrets that makes us happy, makes us released from a lot of things that attaches to us, that hidden joy that we do not have. Those are the things that the spiritual understanding will bring. I've sat down and as I was going, coming from Vancouver, this is my system. Lisa drives and I write, prepared my note. So when we're talking about lack of understanding, so we have words in English. It could be misunderstanding or it could be misunderstanding, not understanding. So, one of the things that makes us not to reach to understanding is that we are not aware of other people's understanding. Let's say the person who is investigating, doing something, anything about certain topics, certain interests, whether spiritual or physical, and he doesn't know how others are doing. Let's say you want to start a business that you've collected a certain understanding, but you have not associated with other people to see what they think, what's their understanding of the circumstances. It is very clear, everyone knows. The more you are aware of people in a close contact by associating with them, to find out what their understanding is of life, especially in this case, a spiritual understanding, how they deal with the problem and matter, the less yourself you have understanding of the situation. So the more you know and associate with other people with a reference to their understanding, your understanding increases. If you don't associate and stay all by yourself, you would not have such a high understanding, or you would have a lot more difficulty on your own to reach those understanding. On the other hand, if you understand what people are, you misunderstand them, and you understand them in the wrong way, and your calculations and your estimation of the situation is wrong, it leads you to misunderstanding. Because what we have to know, it's a prime directive. I've mentioned this many words. I promise that I'll talk about hundreds of them. I forgot, but now I remember it again. It is impossible for any human being at any point of time, that he reaches to certain understanding, however high it might be. And that would be flawless. It is impossible. As Werner Heisenberg says, the uncertainty principles is a part of our life. Remember, Abdul says there's a parallel universe. If in the physical realm there is an uncertainty principle, there will be in the spiritual realm as well. Which in this case is our understanding, the spiritual about the issues. We do that principle applies right here. Just as Einstein says, time and space is relative, so is the truth. Truth for us is relative. There's no absolute. This is very important. I remember, may not be a part of this discussion, but my son one day asked me they had some philosophical class, I believe, that they were discussing in the class. He's studying physics and computer. They were asking these questions that, why can't man create God? What is God? God is making us planets. So is us. We could reach to a point that we can create machines, tools instruments that can actually get these planets and mix them together and make a new planets. Is it not possible? Yes. Comes in future that they take the absolutely, they take the quarks and they make particle, and they make new atoms, as they have done. You know, Germans have done an analium, an ananium, and so on. These are not natural elements or artificials. So in this trend, we might be able to put together and make a new human being. He says, why can't that be then God? So we can create God. I told him, son, this is a prime directive, that whatever a man makes, whatever, doesn't matter at whichever time, another man can improve on it. Therefore, we're not God. And we can never make God. So, this is one of them. The number two that makes us to lack this understanding is the lack of awareness of man over his own body and the soul. This body is a gift by the nature, let's say, by the nature of God. Nature is the factory of God. That's a computer, it's given to us. How much do we know of it? I, for one, don't understand how to operate most of the program on a computer when I buy it. How much do we know of ourselves? Just try to remember and study the man when he was 6 million years ago in the cave and didn't know none of this. The same man today, when you compare it, how much of a difference it is. Who knows what we will be 1,000, 1,000,000 years from now. Same people. We're just going to know more. So, what are our real potential? How do we operate ourselves? How do we get rid of the sorrow when it attacks us? How do we get rid of the stress? How do we become happy? What are the buttons in the body? And we don't know. So that also can cause a lack of understanding in us. The spiritual understanding will not be achieved. We simply have to know more. And again, if we understand it wrong, for example, the stomach is to have food in it, but we say, now let's have some alcohol. Lungs are to get oxygen in, we say, no, I'm going to have some nicotine in it. Well, then we're understanding the organs in the wrong way. Then we're, going to the misunderstanding of the case. Number three, I brought this in the sequence, not exact sequences, but I'm just thinking. One of the biggest problems that cause the lack of understanding, especially spiritual understanding, among the people, is not knowing the Baha'ullah. If you do not know Baha'ullah, it's caused a lot of big problem. And if you understand him wrongly, it causes a huge misunderstanding. Often I said, the man who does not know Baha'u'llah right now, he's exactly the kind of a man that in 14th century didn't know that the center of the solar system is sun. They didn't know. They thought Earth was the stationary, sun rotates. Copernicus came and said, no, it's not. Just knowing this truth changed the whole Europe. The impact of knowing the truth changed a lot. The person who doesn't know Baha'u'llah exists, or is not the center, he's in the same category. Or he doesn't think that there should be a Baha'u'llah. This fellow does not miss sight. He doesn't think there's a sun required. He says, what sun? The sun in the sky, right there. He says, what sun? Which sun? Could you believe there's anybody who doesn't know the sun exists and sun gives us, the goodness of the sun? Is there anybody? No? Well, those who do not know Baha'u'llah, they're in the same category. It's a grievous oblivion. It's huge. Why is that? Is because Baha'u'llah is so big. To deny him, then you have to deny everything. You have to deny the hearing, you have to deny the sight, you have to deny your entire beings. You gotta be seriously blind and deaf, seriously heartless, soulless, very, very, very down and low. This is why at this time I see people, I call them walking fertilizers. They're not really even people. They're just fertilizers. That maybe the seed of humanity grow in them, but they themselves are not human beings. So not knowing Baha'u'llah creates a huge lack of understanding. You have to create words for these things. Oblivion about the central oblivion, central spiritual oblivions. That's the name of a, word to make it to describe this kind of oblivion. Now before I've said that, you have the information and the knowledge about the Baha'i faith. You have read a lot of books, you attended a lot of meetings, you're an actual Baha'i, and you can discuss it and everything else, but you do not act upon what you know. Okay. So, no result. It's like you are like a person who killed himself all over his life to reach to the city where the beloved is. And he comes in the city, all of a sudden says, complacency. Oh, I'll go to the beloved. I came down here, let me just go to a bar right now. I was just busy myself with something. I'll go one of these days to find it. The person doesn't act on what he knows in the Baha'i faith. Is exactly like that guy. He's traveled all his life to get there. Now he's there. It just doesn't go to the address. Or he takes those things and applies in the wrong way. Then it causes misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. Not acting upon to get this things to come up, because the knowledge about the great teachers and informations about that and whatnot, none of them make you a teacher. But if you start to do the Baha'i